Hello world and welcome to Kerbal Space Program. This is an amazing game where you get to build rockets and explore new locations and collect scientific data. Pretty much anything you can do in an actual space program. And so today we are going to start a new series. We are going to go and begin our quest to try and land a science lab on every body that can be landed upon in the Kerbol system. So the Kerbol is the sun in the center of this solar system, and so we're going to land a science lab on every available body to land on. So we're going to call this Exploring Kerbol System. We're going to pick the Research and Development flag. Now, I'm going to assume that all of you have played Kerbal Space Program before, or at least familiar with it. If you're unfamiliar with this game, there's a lot of awesome videos. There's some by NerdCube, there's some by Jacksepticeye, and of course, there's some by Scott Manley. But anyway, we're just going to begin right away. We're going to get all the trivial science. Oh, I got two. We're gonna get all the trivial science. So, trivial science. MK1. Right. Launch. No rockets, no problem. Alright, do the crew report. Do the EVA report. And all of these are worth scientific data that we can use to research more parts. And that will help us greatly, help us get into orbit cheaply and efficiently. So that's what we want, because now I have to worry a lot about money. Because, oops, take surface sample. Money is something we don't have unlimited quantity. I don't understand what I'm doing. Exactly. I'm just trying to cut all the scientific data around here. And so I'm just going to take this pod, move it off the... There we go. Move it away from the launch pad. We're going to get surface sample, EVA report. There we go. We got 32 science. That's perfect. The awesome reason of doing that is now we have enough science to research our first two nodes. So this will make it very efficient for us to build a lander, to build a ship that can go into orbit. That's the first thing we're going to do, is we're going to go into orbit. I hope you guys can't hear my roommate. He's kind of sick. He's blowing his nose very loudly. And I can hear him, and I'm worried about if you guys can hear him. So if you can hear him, just ignore him. That's just my roommate being ill. Alright, there we go. So we got the mystery goo I don't like this. There we go. Alright, so we got 3 mystery goo canisters, and that should be perfect because we're just going up to orbit. So I only need 3. Alright. So let's quickly build a rocket. There we go. So now, I have 3 stages. One is to light this main rocket to get us up. Let's do one more. Hopefully I have enough thrust. So this one will get us up into orbit, then we'll ditch, not to orbit, this one will get us up into space, then we'll ditch it, and this one will allow us to go up into orbit and collect a lot of science. So we'll call this one Basic Orbiter MK1. Save that. Before we begin, we're going to get some contracts. We're going to need plenty of money. So by accepting these contracts, we are given some money up front, and we'll get more money and possibly science for completing them. So we have plenty of money. We can then go and fly our amazing... It's not amazing, it's simple. There we go, it still is enough thrust, so I don't know why I was worried. Alright, history goo here. There we go, science there. I'm going to do a crew report here. I'm not going to do the EVA report just yet. I don't want to risk getting out of my ship when it's accelerating upwards. So I'm just going to hold off on that. Bye ground. Bye runway. Bye airplane hangar. Bye mission control. Bye astronaut complex. Bye research and development. Bye communications satellites. Bye vehicle assembly building. Bye launch pad. We already completed a contract. Launch confirmed. We've taken our first steps towards space. Excellent. So I got money, I got science, I got reputation. So we got a history of not exploding. We get a little gift of science. And our next mission is to get to 5 kilometers. It will happen in 3, 2, 1, bing! Set a altitude record of 5 kilometers or 5,000 meters. Altitude record reached. Well done. Some money and some reputation. Now we just gotta get into space and get into orbit. Well, that's an entire plan of our mission, so we're just going to go upwards, upwards, going faster and faster. Now, once we get above 10 kilometers, we should have gotten through most of the atmosphere, most of the thickness of the atmosphere, but we won't leave the atmosphere until we get to 70,000 meters, or 70 kilometers, so we're going a little fast. That's the one thing that many new players struggle with, is they don't understand that if you go too fast, you are wasting your rocket fuel, because the faster you're going, the faster you're hitting the air, and the more force is generated. Just like if you're driving in a car and you stick your arm out, the faster you're driving the car, the more force of the wind you feel on your arm, even if it isn't really windy out. So by not going too fast, we are able to save ourselves from having to push through the atmosphere even more difficultly. Alright, switching to map mode, we can see that we are getting our apoapsis, our highest point of our orbit, higher and higher. We're going to want to bring that up to eventually 70 kilometers. We're actually having it rise very fast, which is good. We're just going to try and turn sideways so we can build up our lateral speed. Because most of the speed needed to get into an orbit is sideways speed. You just need to get high enough to not hit the surface of the planet. Alright, well, we launched our first stage, and it's already flown away from us. I can't see it. Before we leave the atmosphere, I'm going to go and do some science. So do the EVA report, take the data out of this, get back in, do the crew report, and the mystery goo report. There we go. Got the mystery goo from the upper atmosphere. Back to map mode. Let's continue our burn. There we go. So all I have to do now is get into an orbit, deorbit it, and land. Look down right here, you can see the second runway, the hidden island runway. And when you build a plane, you generally, new players, that's the first place to be able to try and shoot for, aside from just anywhere. Instead of just building a plane and then either flying in a circle and just landing on the runway you took off of, this is the first place that they have to kind of, new players try and find a place to land. Alright, Apoapsis is about to hit 70. Alright, Apoapsis has already hit the 70 kilometers and rising, so we're going to just level this out. Shoot, go straight sideways. There, I see you, Moon. Hey, Moon. There we go, we got to space. $29,000. Dang. External atmospheric pressure sensors read zero. All read zero. You've broken past Kerbal atmosphere and have reached space. Hooray! Now we're just going to get into an orbit. And we'll have completed all of our contracts. And we'll be able to earn even more money. Alright. Cut throttle. Accelerate forward. And finish our burn. So we're just generating more speed, and once we get enough speed, we'll be able to get into an orbit. Orbit Kerbal. The mission control confirmed that a stable orbit has been reached. Nicely done. 59,030 science. Dang. That's a lot of science. I think we can get more on our own. Let's get the mystery goo. Let's get the EVA report. Take data, put it back in. That's a trick that is so useful to know. You can take the science out of the capsule, which allows you to generate a new crew report. And this way you can generate many different crew reports on the same mission. Alright. I'm going to try and land on back as close as we can to Kerbal Space Center. So I'm going to try and see how much fuel I have left. I have plenty of fuel. Well, I'm going to play it safe, because this is the very first mission, so it's very appropriate that we try and take our risks. Well, this is the first non-trivial mission. Okay. I think that should be... I think that'll give us pretty close to the Kerbal Space Center. So let us see. Let's go back to the surface. Oh, we got re-entry effects. We're starting to really slow down now. And we undershot the Kerbal Space Center by about a lot. So we're going to have to try better in the future. In the meantime, I'm just going to slow down until we get about 2 kilometers above the surface, and then I'm going to deploy my parachutes. There we go. Deploy the parachute. The parachute deploys at 500 meters. So I'm just going to slow us down a little bit. The parachutes deploy. There we go. And deploying the landing legs won't hurt. And then I'm going to make sure I have a speed below 7 meters per second when I hit the surface of the water. I'll just make sure that we don't lose any parts. Perfect. And recover. Alright. We got a ton of science. So now we can research even more scientific equipment. Alright, got the batteries. That's all we can get, because we only have 39 science, and the next cheapest is 45. Alright, so we started off with $10,000. Now we have $125,000. We've acquired a small reputation and have done a lot of research. We were very busy this very first episode of this series, And my goal is to bring a science lab onto every planet. So this is what we're looking for. We're going to try and build up the resources to research the science lab. And by putting the science lab on all the different bodies we can land on, we should have plenty of information and to understand the mysteries of the universe. But until then, I think we had enough time for today. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please like it. If you have any suggestion for a future video, please leave a comment below. And I will see you next time.